Let's wrap up today's show talking about the big commitment in the transfer portal, which normally would lead my show when USC gets the Biletnikoff winner from the 2021 season in Jordan Addison after it looked like he was maybe going to go to Texas and that they were squarely in the mix. He also considered Alabama and Oregon, but never took an official visit there. It was Texas and USC. And he ultimately chooses Lincoln Riley and the Trojans, who get yet another weapon there. Normally, that would lead my show, but when you've got some pretty significant news like the rule I've been talking about today, and in changing how to get to the conference championship game, I think that it just takes a slight priority there. But Jordan Addison ultimately has committed to USC. He was given the Biletnikoff last year, given to the best wide receiver in the country. He had 100 receptions for almost 1,600 yards, 17 touchdowns. He was playing with Kenny Pickett of Pitt, who was apparently a first-round quarterback. Looked more like a third or fourth-round quarterback to me. But in a draft class that didn't have a lot of quarterbacks, he goes in the first to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is now going to go play with, checks notes. Oh, yeah, that's right. Caleb Williams, who will be a first-round quarterback and definitely looks a little bit more like one. And so he will join freshman All-American Mario Williams as the top targets on the perimeter for Caleb Williams. And, we've talked a lot on the show here about the transfer portal and how much USC has been utilizing it. And this is just the latest example. I mean, I think there's a case to be made, and I'm not the only one who would argue this, that the top two players in terms of talent, regardless of position in the portal for the class of 2022, were Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison. USC has been able to pick up both of them. And I think that you just look at the offense that Lincoln Riley is putting together. The offensive line is a question mark, right? And that is, I don't think you can really argue that. Offensive line, bit of a question mark, might make it tough to run the ball. But if they can just give him a little bit of time, boy, Caleb Williams has got some serious weapons. And the defense, again, a whole other conversation. I think Lincoln Riley right now has pretty clearly got the best 7v7 lineup in the conference, right? Trenches remains to be seen. But if they can just be mildly competent, I mean, this is elite as far as the Pac-12 conference goes. You got Caleb Williams, a quarterback, 5-star recruit who was a stud a season ago when he came in for Spencer Rattler and is probably going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. Running backs, you've got Travis Dye, who was Oregon's best offensive player in 2021. You got Austin Jones, a really talented, well-rounded back who comes over from Stanford. How many holes they'll have to run through behind that offensive line, it remains to be seen. But those are talented, versatile guys who are also going to play a factor in the passing game. Then on the perimeter, you've got Mario Williams, you've got Jordan Addison, you've got Terrell Bynum, the Washington transfer, and you've got Gary Bryant Jr., who is a breakout candidate for the Trojans this season. I don't know if you can find an array of offensive weapons at the skill positions as good as the setup that Lincoln Riley and the Trojans are going to have here in his first season in Los Angeles in 2022. Now, I was looking at this because I was trying to figure out kind of who the tight ends would be. And you look at the stats from last year, USC didn't use their tight ends hardly at all. That has not been the case with Lincoln Riley's offenses in Oklahoma. You think about guys like Mark Andrews, and there's another tight end whose name is like Calcutta, might be his name, something like that. But they've used the tight ends pretty extensively, and so I'll be interested to see which of these USC tight ends is really going to step up, or if it changes from the perspective of just how often they're involved in the offense. I mean, you look and they just, in the air raid last year, didn't throw the ball to the tight ends a lot. It was mostly wide receivers, and they've got some elite pass catchers on the perimeter. But I wonder how much more that will be a part of their offense this year as Lincoln Riley takes over and gets to implement a system and call the plays. But it's another big commitment for the Trojans. There's no doubt about that, and I think people are really, really buying into USC, and it's a place they want to go. And you hire Lincoln Riley, that tends to happen, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time, and have a wonderful rest of your day.